So the question is, who would want to follow Angeles? And the answer is me. Me. Why wouldn't I want to follow? And Angeles and I were in a session, and the afternoon of that session was long. And so I won't tell the whole story, but it was long and arduous, and it was full of group process. And so at the end of the day, I said, how about if Angeles and I design tomorrow morning? And they all said, fine. And so the next morning we got together about 20 minutes before the beginning, and we shared a little bit of feeling about the last afternoon. And then I said, well, let's design the morning, Angeles. And she said, fine, let's design it. And I said, who goes first? And she said, I will. And I said, design meeting over. She had her way. And that was a new behavior for me. Thank you. And so to follow her is a blessing. And I am a follower of hers. The other thought I had is what's compelling about it. And I think it's in the expression, it's in the eyes, it's in the aliveness. You know, you're speaking about what it takes to not be in the procession of the living dead. And then you're showing us at the same moment. And that to me is what's breathtaking about it. I also love the repetition. It creates space for me to wander on my own. The other thought is that our task is to stay in the experience of her story rather than think about or talk about the story. That's easy. One other incident in that same session, or another one, was Angeles told a story, and then somebody said, boy, I wish I had a video of that. In other words, instead of staying in the experience of the story, she wanted to memorialize the story, have it last forever, take it to scale. And so that's our work now for the next 30 minutes or so, is to stay in the experience of her and the story she uses as an excuse to show up. So I thought maybe a question for the conversation might be, what part of the experience is still holding on to you? All right? What's holding on to you? I also love in the midst of her Poetic. And Zapata-like way of telling a story. You know, she tells the story of Zapata, and I feel like the woman on the other side of the room. You know, throw me the hat. And so in her telling of the story, she is that. And I love that. And mixed with that is her love of lists. And I always feel seduced when she says, okay, there's 4 things. And I go, oh shit, now I got to write something down. What was the 3rd thing? What was the 4th thing? What was the 3rd? There's 2 of those and 4 of those. I feel like it's a menu. 5 of those, 2 of those. What were the 3rd things? And so I think that she's tickling the engineer in me and saying, you can't get away. You can't escape this. So I would say that the question, what is evoked, what experience is evoked in the presence of that in you, now the key part of one of those lists about connecting to community, I just want to reinforce, is the stranger notion. And to me, the stranger without is more interesting than the stranger within. And there's a tendency in this environment to spend a lot of time on the stranger within. Well, I have spent a lot of time on the stranger within. And the stranger without is much more communally compelling. So look around and you always say, who in this room do I know the least? And the second is, when you find that person, don't wait to be chosen. So part of our defense against community is waiting to be chosen. Let me sit here, and then we have a story about being the chosen one. I'm an introvert. I'm low on inclusion, high on control, and somewhere on the third dimension, I can't remember. See, I promised lists of 3, and I only come up with 2. This is my tombstone. Here lies Peter. He gave a lot, but promised much more. Absolutely true. So you say, I'm not going to wait to be chosen. Let me find a person in here I know the least. Don't wait to be chosen. Got it? And then you create another group of 3. And now the key element and what makes the small group powerful is the injunction not to be useful or helpful in any way to those other 2 people. All right? Because help is always a form of colonialism. It always positions myself as if I know and you don't. Mm-hmm. And people are always saying, well, when I was in that situation, and as soon as they start to say that, the implication was it worked out well. And I always want to say, yeah, and look how you turned out. So my advice mostly is littered with things that didn't work that well, but I'm still determined. There must have been something there that was so. You say, I don't want to be helpful. I want to be curious instead of helpful. And the most curious question in the world is, why did that matter to you? And to me, that is just so useful. Why? And then when they answer the question, you say, and why did that matter to you? And ask them the 3rd time and the 4th time. And if they get irritated at you for asking the same question, ask them, why are you irritated with me? And when they answer, you say, and why did that matter to you? Got it? So let's do that. Find 1 or 2 other people you know the least. Don't wait to be chosen. Don't be helpful, and sit in a little circle. The question is, what's holding on to you from the experience of what Angeles took us through?